Hello, explorers, and welcome to Reach the World's Explorer program. For more than 25 years, Reach the World has sparked student curiosity, bringing real-world adventure, fresh perspectives, and global career paths into K-12 classrooms through virtual exchange. My name is Tim, and today we are kicking off a brand new Reach the World Explorer program that's all about the incredible world of plants. Our Explorer guide for this journey is Fulbright U.S. Student Program researcher Ellie, who's going to be joining us live from Berlin, Germany in just a moment. Today, we're going to get to know Ellie, learn all about how she came to be conducting plant research in Germany's capital, and then I'll turn it over to you, the curious students on this call, to ask Ellie all of your burning questions. If you are new to this virtual exchange program, please be sure to check out the links in the chat on the right-hand side of your screen. They'll take you to Reach the World's homepage for our incredible World of Plants program, where you can find all of Ellie's articles to date, her upcoming articles, and even later today, the recording from this live event. I'm so happy to welcome several amazing school groups who are joining us live today, or will be watching a bit later. Let's give a few shout outs. Miss Adams at Welland-Poppack Middle School in Pennsylvania, hello, waiting patiently backstage, glad you're here. Miss Lake at Robinson Elementary in Vermont, we're glad you're here as well. Miss Palma at Roberta Road Middle School in North Carolina, thank you for joining. Our friends at Booker T. Washington School in Birmingham, Alabama, so glad you're here. And of course, Miss Copeland school, students at Green School Friends, I've got your questions right here, ready to ask Ellie when we get the chance. So for everyone else, please be thinking about your questions for Ellie. We'll get a chance to ask all of those today. And I know you're not here to see me, so let's get on with the main show. Using the magic of virtual exchange, let's cross the vast Atlantic Ocean, wander about halfway across Western Europe, and join Fulbright researcher and Reach the World explorer Ellie in Berlin, Germany. Hey, Ellie.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well.
Great. It's great to have you here. I'm so excited to kick off our incredible World of Plants virtual exchange. We have a lot of students who just want to sort of get to know you today as we get started on this journey with you as our guide. We've had a chance to look at your first article on the virtual exchange homepage. And I thought maybe we could just start by you telling us where you are and what time of day it is. I see that it's dark in the background. It doesn't feel like where I am right now.
Yeah, so right now I'm not technically in Berlin. I'm about an hour south of Berlin in the laboratory that I work in. I'm in just a meeting room. And right now it's Germany is 6 hours ahead of Eastern time, so it's 6:45 here now.
All right, excellent. It's very fitting that you have a plant just over your shoulder too. I feel like it's very on theme for today. You shared with us a couple photos from your childhood and your journey to becoming a researcher in Germany. And I think what I'll do is just bring those up now and you can talk through what we're looking at. This will add a little bit more to the article you wrote about an introduction to you. So without any further ado, I will turn it over to you to tell us what we're looking at.
Awesome. Well, I'll just say before I get any farther, hi guys. I'm so excited to meet you all. I've been so excited for this for a while now and writing all my articles, hoping to meet you guys soon. So when I was in, I suppose I was about middle school here, or maybe a little bit younger, I got very involved with especially nature because my grandfather did a lot of gardening at that time. He would grow and still does grow, potatoes and tomatoes and all kinds of good produce in his garden. And we also got chickens at that time in my life. My sister was super obsessed with chickens, and she convinced them. And so I got very close with a lot of nature, and that kind of sparked how I thought about plants and nature and how I wanted to kind of connect with it. I saw that my certain weather would change my grandfather's fields, and how I would kind of think to myself, like, why did the beets do better than the asparagus? And I started getting really interested in the more side of plants that actually helped people, like the plants that people ate. And about that time too, I was very lucky because my family decided to go on a cross-country trip across the country. So I'm from New Jersey, and I also am kind of from Pennsylvania as well. But we went all the way across the country to Washington State and Oregon and California. And when I was out there, I saw the Sequoia National Park, and Sequoia National Park still stands out in my memories. If anybody doesn't know what Sequoia National Park is, sequoias are a type of tree that gets so big. They get so big. Like, for instance, you can see in this picture, I'm quite small, but I assure you that even an adult wouldn't be any taller than me compared to this giant tree that had fallen. And just seeing huge, tall trees like that, I think brings a lot of wonder into how you look at the world around you, because when you're thinking about plants as grass on the ground or the trees that you're used to, and you're so used to it, right? But then you go to a new place and you see how big and wonderful and amazing the plants are out there, and you kind of start to think about plants in your own world differently. And so I hope that I can show you some things from Berlin across this time that will also make you think about nature a little bit differently in your home. I know that you guys read my article about how I like to bake, and my apple pie that I baked in that since coming here. But I've baked all my life, and I think that that's another way that we kind of connect with plants, right? Because everything that we make is maybe very processed, right? But it's all, making things from things that were originally plants or animals. And the animals were fed by plants, so it all kind of comes back to plants in the end. That's how I think about everything. But I think I like to go out and collect berries and stuff like that. You'll hear all about that kind of thing in my articles. And it kind of all started with really just enjoying baking. And it makes me feel so connected to the world around me as well, because it's so dependent on the season and where you live and what kind of weather is around, what you can make. And I think it's fascinating. So now moving a little bit older, this is me in high school, I believe, and I continued to really love hiking and being in nature and camping. This is me and my sister camping in northern New Jersey, and basically just I continued to kind of cultivate this love of being outside, and how happy and satisfied, I suppose, that it made me to be around plants, and how it always feels kind of like when you recognize the plants around you, maybe this is just me, but hopefully maybe someday you can get to this also, that if you recognize the things in the world around you, you feel more safe and at home in it, and more confident to go and really push the boundaries of what's possible. And this is my global connection. So this boy that I'm with in this picture, this was high school as well. At this time in my life, I met this boy, Duarte. He was a Portuguese exchange student. And he and I got really, really close. And he became a really, really good friend of mine that we still are in contact. And he kind of opened up this world to me. I suppose I was very sheltered, and I didn't really think about outside of the United States. Do you know what I'm saying? And he kind of brought into my world this other culture, and I was so fascinated by how he explained life was different there. And I was like, wow, I really want to, visit you. I really want to experience that a little bit for the first time kind of in my life. Again, another picture from going across the national parks across the United States. I like this one. We took all these fun photos in front of the signs, and I just have such fond memories of going out there, and just even still, you can see in the background of this photo the Douglas firs. I mean, they just really don't grow like that in the East. And it kind of just still amazes me, like after all this time, like how different everything is, even across our country, which is big, but still is united, right? Okay, so a big part of my decision to come to Germany, right, had to do a lot with my family. I'm very close with my family. On my paternal side, my father's side, and my mother's side, I'm quite close with both of them. And I really wouldn't have been able to go abroad if it wasn't for all the support that they've given me over the years. And I think that maybe also maybe going to Germany, I have a lot of German heritage as well. So my last name is Kreider, but they pronounce it here a little bit different, and it means to work with chalk. And this was part of my culture that I really never connected with that much. We've been in America for a long time, but it kind of fascinated me, and kind of the idea of meeting new family members that I had never met that do live in Germany kind of made me really excited. That's why I kind of chose Germany, other than they're incredibly strong in the scientific fields, and they have amazing agriculture here as well. And as I just recently graduated from my undergraduate degree, I officially have a bachelor's in biology now, as of last May. And this was the mentor that I had throughout the entirety of my undergraduate career. She was in charge of my research and a lot of my classes, and her name was Dr. Thornton. And she read every application I did. She worked with me so hard. If I had my family at home and her in the lab, and both of them were supporting me so much, I don't think I ever could have gotten here if it wasn't for these two influences in my life. And so I just want to show you guys that if you ever do want to do something like this, or if you want to do something completely different, right? Don't be afraid to use the resources that you've collected, because they really want to help and they really want to support you, and not to feel shy about it at all, because it brings them just as much excitement as it does you when you get in. And of course, I don't think I actually wrote that I fenced in my articles. Fencing was my social outlet. Do you guys know what fencing is? That it's basically sword fighting, right? Except with more rules, I suppose. It's not quite what you see in the movies. But I've been fencing through high school, and when I came to college, I made my own club so that I could learn to fence with other people. I'm not currently fencing anymore, but this was a huge social outlet for me. And I think I was the president of this, and it gave me a lot of confidence as well, because having so many people rely on me and so many people work with me kind of gave me the confidence that, okay, I can go places and be a leader. I can go and be social, and I don't have to be afraid of what people think of me, because I have this such a strong social backing, and I've experienced a lot of these things. And I tutored a lot through college as well, and I built a lot of these skills of public speaking and working with other people. And previously I had been maybe a little bit antsy about being on camera like this, and so I do want to say that this is a new skill for me, and I'm happy to be working on it with you guys. This is my lab at Donald Danforth Plant Science Center. So this is a lab that I was out in Missouri doing. I went there for a summer, and the Donald Danforth Plant Science Center is world famous. It's world famous for global science. And as I began getting more and more interested in global perspectives, not only as I moved from high school and meeting Duarte, but also into college and seeing how many issues around the world to do with agriculture also were happening in my own country. Drought is increasing across the world, right? And wanting to help people both here and abroad, but then realizing that I didn't really know much about the issues that other people were experiencing across the world. Are they experiencing the same problems as me? Is this an isolated thing, or are they, how? And I realized I just really didn't know. So I went to this place, and this was the place where the scientist who worked on golden rice is from. And you guys may not know about that. It's a little bit old now, but it was basically rice that was very strong in a certain vitamin called vitamin A. That's really important for our eyesight. So if people have vitamin A deficiency, they can go blind. And so they made this rice that would produce lots of vitamin A, and they called it golden rice, and they tried to give it to the world. It kind of didn't go super well. It didn't get received that well, but it's an amazing example of how people here in America can help people across the world, and that we should be working to solve and understand worldwide issues. And maybe not finally, but this is my conference that I went to, a conference where you share your scientific research to other people and they give you feedback on it. And this was the conference that I went to where I first talked to somebody who had done Fulbright. Fulbright is the program that has given me the money to live abroad for 10 months. And I kind of didn't think that I was maybe worthy of it, that it was something that was only given to really smart people or really cool people or whatever, right? Very imposter syndrome. But I talked to somebody who had been a Fulbright Scholar, and she said that, just think about it. Just give it a shot, And I started thinking about it, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, maybe I'll give it a shot. I'm never going to get it. And then I got it. And now I'm here. And it's an amazing place. And I never would have been able to do that without all the support of all these people and all these experiences kind of coming together into one person.
All right. What an amazing introduction, Ellie. Thank you so much. I feel like we've covered a number of years, bringing us up to the present. You doing research, plant research, specifically in Germany. And that's where we're going to pick up from for the rest of our virtual exchange together. But I want to pause and give some students a chance to ask you questions about all the stuff we just covered, all the stuff that was in your first article, because I know there are questions about that topic. So for any of our classrooms that are following on YouTube, you can drop your questions into chat. I will fold them into the conversation. But we have Miss Adams' class waiting very patiently backstage. I want to bring them on camera and see if we've got any brave student who is willing to step up to the camera and ask Ellie their question.
Okay, I have one coming up.
Excellent.
Stand right here. Does it camera?
How many years do you have to be studying for?
Studying before in Germany or before I can become a plant biologist?
Before you become a plant biologist.
Well, I guess I could technically say I'm already one because I have a degree and I'm working in the field. But I do hope to get a PhD and get my doctorate as well, and that's another 6 years. So that's 10 years total because it's 4 years undergrad and 6 years doctorate. Or you can get a master's and that's 2 years. Or you can stop here and have 4. But yeah.
Thank you. Yep, that's good. Thanks. Good question. New questions? Give another one.
So it's not really about plants, but I was wondering when you got shipped over to Germany. Oh my gosh.
She didn't get shipped over. She flew over.
I came the 1st of September is when I came here, and I got settled in before the 15th. That's when I started.
That was a good question. Don't be embarrassed. It's a great question. How did you get to Germany, Ellie?
I took a plane. Yeah, it was a 7-hour flight and it was overnight. So I left at like probably 11 o'clock at night here, not here, in the Eastern Coast. And then I got here at like 2 in the afternoon into Berlin, and I was very jet lagged and I wanted to sleep right away.
Excellent. Great question. Let's take some more students from Miss Adams' class if we've got some.
Anybody questions? I think we're good. How about you do some of those ones from that other school?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. I'll come back to you. Don't worry. Keep thinking. So Ellie, I have a bunch of questions to relate on the behalf of other students who are watching. And they cover a wide range of topics, plant related and not plant related. So this is in the vein of getting to know you.
I'm here for it.
I have Garnet from Green Street Friends, who is interested in knowing what the major differences between Pennsylvania or New Jersey and Germany are.
Well, they're both. I guess I could answer this ecologically speaking or culturally speaking. I think maybe ecologically is the easiest first.
Sure.
Is that, well, in a lot of ways they're quite similar because they both have seasonality, and they have similar temperatures when it gets cold and temperatures when it gets hot. They have a lot of the same vegetation. So for instance, you saw on our flag, we have oaks and goldenrod and pyracantha. These are all flowers and shrubs and trees that you'd see in America as well. But it's a little bit different because a lot of the species that are here in Germany are not native to the Americas and maybe have come over, or vice versa, because our climates are very similar. So for instance, there are plants from America that were kind of from America, like black cherry. I don't know if you know that plant, but it's an eastern tree. It's seen in the eastern coast, and it's become incredibly invasive here. I actually spent a week taking out this tree that I planted so many times on the eastern coast. But I should clarify that, yeah, I'm talking about, the eastern coast, not the western coast of the United States, of course, is very, very different. Culturally speaking, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, how about just living? How about your everyday life? What's maybe like the biggest thing that you see is different?
I think that there's a difference in maybe the mentality of people here. So maybe in America, it's very common to work 9 to 5 and you have your hours and they're set. And here I've experienced very much more loose. It's kind of like, you come in and you work really hard. And if you're not working, if it's not working today, then you just go home and you'll work tomorrow, or, you'll work harder the next day, but it's kind of like, take the time for yourself. And there's a lot of I think Germans are known for being a very orderly people. That's a horrible generalization. But I have noticed that people here are more likely to follow the rules. I've been yelled at quite a couple of times for doing things that were totally normal in America, like maybe I hopped a fence or something like that, trying to look at a plant. Somebody's like, some random stranger on the street's like, don't do that. And I'm like, wow, in America, nobody would care about this. So I have to be careful.
All right. Thank you. And Garnet, thank you for the great question. We had another question from Green Street Friends from Levi. In your introductory article and in your profile photo for your Journey homepage, you look to be on a farm. He's curious to know why you are on a farm, and was that Germany? Are you in Germany in that picture?
Yes, that's Germany. That's the Bavarian Alps, so the deep south of Germany, so to speak. That was a festival I went to in the Alps, and it's an amazing tradition they have down there. They go and they they have their cows and they graze in the alpine pastures up on the mountains for the whole summer. And then they bring them back to put them in the barns for the winter. And at the end of the summer, when they bring them back from the fields down to the barns, they parade them through town and they put headdresses on them and big bells, and they go through Main Street and everybody kind of watches them and celebrates them. And I went to go visit, one of the first things I did was I went to go visit this festival, and I loved it. And that dress that I'm wearing is a traditional German dirndl. It's a dress with an apron and a little blouse underneath the dress. And it's very common to see that in the Bavaria, in the south of Germany.
All right, great. We got the backstory to that photo. That's great. It didn't look like Berlin to me too. So I'm glad we have clarification on that. And we'll see more of Berlin in the coming weeks as we follow you on your adventures. Two student questions that are basically asking a similar thing. Alma in Philadelphia would like to know what advice you have for young scientists who are interested in plants. And a student in Miss Lake's class in Vermont would like to know, what would I have to do to get to work with you? If we think what you're doing is really cool, which I do, and I know many of these students do, what would we have to do to become and do what you're doing?
I think that I could give you a very practical answer, but I think what I want to tell you more so is that you need to follow what you're curious about and what you're interested in. And you have no idea how many times I've had to tell this to college students who are following whatever track, and they're like, yeah, I can't understand this. And I was like, does it interest you? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, we can work with that, but why are you doing this for the rest of your life, you know? And if you are interested in plant science, if you're interested in science, if you're interested in biology, explore it, you know? You don't need to be in school to explore it. You can go online, the wild web, right? You can read books. You can ask teachers or ask adults, or I asked so many questions. I annoyed everybody. And I just followed whatever interested me. That's the direction I went. And it truly brought me to a place where I could really understand a broader idea of what I'm doing. And perhaps just in case they were interested in the more practical application of that question, you study hard through like whatever school you're in now, and you work in a lab as early as you can. So something like undergraduate, it's very common to join a lab at that time. You join a lab, you get practical experience, you make sure it's for you. You enjoy your classes, you enjoy your lab, and then after that, you can apply for lots of different things outside, and the possibilities are totally endless. Like, I just chose Fulbright, and I could have chosen like a million other things. I could have gone for a master's, I could have gone for a PhD, could have gone straight to a job. There are so many. You will see that the farther you go, the more opportunities open.
Excellent. Very, very good advice. We have the remainder of the questions I can see sort of fall in two buckets. The first bucket is getting to know more about Ellie, the person. The second of the bucket is for students who are really eager to turn the corner and go deep into plants, or really want to talk about plants. So I'm going to do sort of a rapid fire question asking of personal get to know Ellie questions, and we'll get through those, and then we'll turn the corner and go into plants. And Miss Adams' class, just give me a wave if any more students have questions that they want to ask before you all have to go. Okay, personal questions. What was your favorite subject in school?
Science.
Science. There we go. Excellent. How old are you, and what is your favorite book?
22, and Speaker for the Dead by Orson Scott Card is an amazing book. You will probably read Ender's Game in school, but I implore you, please, 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 please read the sequel. Speaker for the Dead is so, so good. Okay, go.
Excellent book recommendation. Very good. Let's see here. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like hamsters, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest?
Okay, guys. Probably like a 3 or a 2.
Okay.
I don't know.
Fair.
I don't know. They're just squiggly. I don't.
Do you have a favorite animal?
Yes, ligers. I usually say lions in polite company, but we're all biologists here, right? A liger is a genetically modified tiger and a lion together.
Okay, wow. I'm
They're so
going to have to
cool.
look that up when we get off of this call because I was not aware there was a combo. Excellent. Okay, so I think that covered most of our personal questions. I want to turn the corner into plants now, so we can really start. I know we're all here because we're very interested in plants too. And Ellie, you are the expert on this, so we can bring up a bunch of questions about plants. There's a lot of curiosity in plants that might be poisonous. And even I think the second half of this question from Miss Lake students is like, how many plants do you personally have, either in your lab, or are you one of those people whose home space has to be full of your own plants that you're growing? You can answer that however you'd like.
Poisonous plants, I mean, you see poisonous plants every day, pretty much. A lot of the plants you see are poisonous, for sure. Generally, they say anything with a white berry is almost always poisonous. There are rules about edible plants, but I'm not going to tell you them because they're not solid, and I'm not going to have you eating poisonous plants. How many plants do I have? Well, in Berlin, I have 6. I have 2 air plants, and I have thyme, and I have rosemary, and I have sage, and I have one more. Oregano. I have oregano. Just the basics. But at home, my pride and joy, I have many plants, and I love succulents, but my pride and joy are my ginkgos. I don't know if you know, ginkgos are my favorite plant, and which I'm surprised nobody asked. Shame on you. And they are so fascinating, and I've grown 2 of them from seed, and they are my babies, and I've had them for 2 years now.
Okay, now that's on me. People did ask what your favorite plant was. I was just building up to it. So you've given us the reveal ahead of time, the ginkgo plant. I hope we can learn more about why. Well, let me ask you right now, why really is ginkgo plant head like above all other plants in your mind?
How much time do you have? I'll keep it short. The ginkgo plant is a tree that has not genetically changed appreciably for 200 million years. They look at fossils and they check the genetics of it, and they're almost identical to the ginkgos that live today. The ginkgos almost went extinct, but they were saved by Tibetan monks who kind of thought they were sacred, and they saved them, and they used their extracts for all kinds of health things. It's known for longevity, memory, things like that. Now they're everywhere. But if you consider the ginkgo to be an introduced species to the Americas, you'd be wrong, because ginkgos once lived across the entirety of the globe. You know how oaks and maples and evergreens are everywhere, right? Once that was ginkgos, and they've all gone extinct except for one species, Ginkgo biloba, and that's the only one we have left. It's like this very precious, so rare,
Wow. Amazing. I feel like just for me personally, like I have now a whole new understanding of one tree that I may casually walk by in my life.
This is what the leaf looks like. The leaf looks like this, and it's the only fan-shaped leaf you're gonna see. So if you see it, you'll know.
Very distinct. As you're walking home from school today or going about your everyday life, look for that fan-shaped leaf, and you will know that you have found a Ginkgo biloba. Very cool. All right, great question, great answer. I accidentally missed one personal question that I have to go back to because I'm curious too. You mentioned a bunch of herbs that you are growing, and I presume you're using for food and making your food taste good. You mentioned that you like to bake. What's the most exciting thing you bake, and what's the thing you bake the most?
I bake pies all the time. I bake pies like all the time, all kinds of pies. But the most exciting thing, because they're very popular with parties and things like that. But here in Germany, they don't really seem to like pies that much. I was very surprised. I made a pie, I make things, and I share them with people, and they're like, yeah, this is so good, like, give me more. And then I made a pie, and people were like, yeah, it's okay, thank you. But probably the most exciting thing I've ever made, gosh, I don't know. I've made lots of jellies and jams from plants that I've completely foraged off the street. Like actually pyracantha, which is on our flag. I've made a pyracantha jelly, and that was they're not really considered technically edible. So it's kind of, it was exciting for me. I was like, okay, is this going to be good?
Yeah, very good. I'm glad you referenced the flag because I want to bring it up, and I'm going to sort of try to move us to the side if I can here. And you can tell us which of these plants is the pyracantha, the one you just mentioned.
It's the one with the berries on it.
Okay, the top right corner with the beautiful red berries. All right, excellent. This is a deep dive for all of our classrooms that are following along and have their own classroom flag. Each one of those plants was picked for a very particular reason. Can we pause now that we know what the top right corner is, and you can just tell us a little bit about the significance of the other three plants on the flag?
Yes, of course. So pyracantha, I've seen a lot of in Germany. In Berlin in particular, it's a very showy plant that people plant for just beauty. On the other side is goldenrod, quite showy as well. It was kind of the first plant. I came to Germany and I was on the train going back to where I was going to be living. And I was looking around and I was like, what do I know? What don't I know? And I saw a lot of plants. The first plant I really recognized was goldenrod. And I kind of had this feeling of, oh, okay, I'm home. Like this place is also like home, because anywhere goldenrod can grow. No, I shouldn't say that. We have people from all over the country here. And then below that is oak. So here there is no official plant of Germany, but people unanimously agree when you ask them that it is the oak. The oak symbolizes sturdiness and strength and like being like steady. And that's represents kind of the German mentality, they build their houses to last. They build their houses so to last that you have to open the windows because they have so little air circulation. They build and everything's very much to last. And this is kind of like their mentality. And then on the other side, this small plant with the root coming off of it, this is Arabidopsis. And you'll see a lot of Arabidopsis because this is the plant that I study in my lab. So I have probably way more than I need right now. I probably have over 200 plants growing right now of Arabidopsis. And so you'll see lots of it. You'll hear me talk about it a lot. So it's because people have trouble pronouncing it, Arabidopsis thaliana.
Mm-hmm. All right, wonderful. Thank you. It's nice to know. Oops. It's nice to know what those plants are, and it actually knocks out a lot of other questions I have about sort of what plants are you studying, what plant would you use in your lab, what kind of plants are you surrounded by on a daily basis. It sounds like let's say it with me one more time so you can help me and we can help the students. What's the Latin name of the plant again?
A rabid, like rabid dog. Arabidopsis.
Dopsis. Arabidopsis.
Thaliana.
Okay. Arabidopsis.
It doesn't have a common name. Like, for instance, you might say pyracantha is the common name of a Latin name, or oak is a common name, but Arabidopsis doesn't have a common name. It's like a weed, and nobody cares about it outside of the lab, where it's literally the most grown, most studied plant, because it's for a whole host of reasons that we can get into some other time. But it's very famous in the plant science community, but it doesn't even have a common name.
We will get much more into that in the days and weeks ahead. I think it's probably the most fascinating part of this story because it is the center of your research, and what you're doing around that plant is very, very interesting. Much more to talk about there.
Yeah, get excited.
I'm going to bring Miss Adams back onto the screen. If are there any more questions, I didn't want to move on without giving any more students in your class a question or a chance to come up and ask a question if they had one.
Oh, they just wanted to know how much German you're able to speak.
Ein bisschen. Ein bisschen. Oh, only a bit. In Berlin, a lot of people know English really, really well, but I've definitely had a lot of experiences where I had to dig really deep. And I'm getting a lot better too as I go.
You didn't study German before you went to Germany?
I did. I did 1 semester of German before I came, but it's not really usable because I didn't learn much grammar. So I just went to the supermarket and I kind of saw all these produce names in German and I was like, okay, I know what that one is because it looks like a potato and that's what the name for potato is. And then I kind of started learning and now I'm not conversational, but shall we say, I know enough for utility for my necessary things.
All right, excellent question. Any more from Miss Adams' class?
Do I see one in the back? No, he's just shaking his head at me.
Well, I was actually just explaining a couple things that you were mentioning that we're going to be getting to that later in the year. So when you were talking about the scientific names and the Latin roots, we haven't gotten that far in the year. So some of the questions were just about what we haven't learned yet.
Sure.
Wow. Well, now you know what you guys are going to be like so excited to learn because the anticipation is going to be eating away at you.
Oh,
You're going to be like, oh my gosh, now it's all coming together.
And if you thought you were only going to learn words in German, surprise, surprise, you're also learning Latin through the study of plants in Germany. Ms. Adams, do we have a final question?
No, we're good. No,
Okay.
we're good.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll move you backstage. All right. We have a couple more questions, Ellie, from the chat that I want to make sure and get to. We talked about what plant species you study. Here's a good one. You talked about a favorite book, but it wasn't a plant-based book for people who are sort of getting into plants. What else could they read to learn a little bit more about plants?
Okay, this is bad. I know this. I have this book and it's like fully annotated and it's been given to me by a friend and it's called Ginkgo biloba, the tree that time forgot. Okay, so that's my favorite book. I can't lie to you. But I know that that's not an interesting answer. I have more interesting answers. It's just not the truth. I have recommend to probably high schoolers. Oh my gosh. It's a book. I can't remember it. I will have to.
We put you on the spot. It's okay. You can get back to us with a book recommendation.
I will. And I recommend also that you read any, it's maybe not a book, but if you have a field guide, field guides are so fun to go out and just look at the plants and be like, and that kind of is like the most, I really enjoy it. Like, it's like, oh my gosh. And now I'm like 10 times more interested in plants every time.
Excellent. Just a nice softball question to finish up today. A student in Miss Lake's class is wondering, what do you like best about your job? What is it that sort of gives you energy and makes you excited to go to work every day?
So many things, but probably my favorite thing is just that I am always on the cusp of knowledge. Do you know what I'm saying? Like science is always on the cutting edge of what we know. Nobody else knows what I'm doing. Nobody else knows what I know unless I share it. So every day I move the knowledge of humanity forward a little bit, and that just makes me feel so like I may never be in a textbook. You may never hear about me again, but some way, some incomprehensible way, I'm moving the knowledge of humanity forward and I'm helping people, or somebody is going to help people based on the knowledge that I'm creating today. And just that amazing, mystifying feeling that nobody knows what is out there. And I know this and I have the ability to share it. And so if only I could share it, then I could, everybody could be better off.
I think that that is a wonderful reason to be a plant biologist. I can't wait to learn more about you. And we are unfortunately running out of time for today. We got to as many students as we can today, or questions as we could today. And students, if you didn't get your question answered today, please write it down. Please make sure you remember it, because we will have more chances to connect with Ellie in Germany. And we're actually going to turn the corner now that we know her and she knows you, and we can start to really get into her plant research. And there's some other things she wants to tell us about just plants in general in Berlin. When I think about Berlin, I think about a bustling urban center, the capital of Germany. Lots of things covered in concrete and buildings and a very developed space. I don't necessarily think about plants, but Ellie has already started to get me thinking differently about that. And we're going to talk some more about that too. So much more to do. Ellie, is there anything else that I missed about what's coming up that you're especially excited to talk about?
I just really want to teach you guys all about my science. I really want to work and make sure that people can understand it, and really develop, also work with you. You guys are helping me too, because I want to teach everybody. I want to learn how to communicate with everybody about my science. So thank you.
All right, excellent. Well, it has been phenomenal to talk to you today. As I said, we're right on the beginning of our journey with you. Thank you to all the students in classrooms who joined today. On behalf of those students, I'm going to say vielen Dank und auf Wiedersehen to Ellie, which means thank you very much and goodbye in German for those of you who speak. And we should all be trying to learn some words. We can learn some German on this voyage too. It's been really nice to talk to you today, Ellie, hear about how you got to be where you are today. And now we're going to really dive into the meat of what it's like to be a researcher, a Fulbright Scholar in Germany, investigating and noticing plants all around you. So we're just getting started. It's very, very exciting. There's much more to explore. And until next time, students, keep exploring. Keep an eye on the green things in your backyard. You will see some today, and I hope that you remember what they are so we can talk about it next time with Ellie. And thank you all for going on this Reach the World journey with us. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen.